Righto, we're back at the rod shop. It's Monday morning. We've had an awesome weekend at Heathcote. Blown H show was good. Benny's happy with the engine. I'm happy with the car. It went really well. Now, I want to give you guys a behind the scenes look now at how we plan on getting a set of tyres off Warbird. Now, Cleetus is behind the wheel. You appreciate it behind the scenes at Blown H J. I think you guys are going to love this. Righto, so as a group along the journey here, we've got a group message going between us rod shop guys, the No Gas father and son combo and Cleetus. Now, there's a lot of messages going on, a lot of bullshit along the way too, but mainly about the car stuff. We're having a great time and a bit of fun talking about it and a few other things there. So a couple of weeks ago, you remember we tried to fire the cars up. Killer Bee fired up, EGTs weren't working. It's got a glitch in the race pack. There's something wrong there. There's a few niggling issues. Now, when you travel a car, whether it's from here halfway around Australia or you send it in a boat, you are going to have issues along the way. There's no doubt about that. So the boys have ran it. There's a few things that Steve's definitely not happy with. So they're parked it in the corner now. It's nothing major. If Ben was there a few days, some tools, I think it could be sorted out. But the boys have made the decision to park it into the corner there. We're going to let it sit. Hopefully, Govey can bugger off shortly, and Benny will get over there, rectify that. Steve will be in the driver's seat. So that's that part of it. And my car, we fired it up, first 10 seconds really good, and then this happened.
Fuel leak. Oh, brother. That's probably in the braid. Oh, it's actually up here.
So it didn't quite go to plan there, but it's not a major one either. So we've got a new fuel line put on, so James has done that. James and Cleetus are peas and carrots, you could say, them two together. So James has repaired that for me. Now, that was a week, 2 weeks ago, and we're getting close to game time. So Cleetus' show is this weekend coming, and the car still hasn't turned a tyre properly. So Ben is massively nervous on the engine and the race pack and everything else, whereas myself, probably would be fair to say I'm starting to get a little bit jittery over it. So we've been on the messages all weekend, and I apologise to my lovely wife that Cleetus messaged me about 4 AM this morning, and probably to Ben's wife Caitlin too, that woke her up with the early messages, but that's what happens when we're doing international stuff. So we've got it all worked out for tomorrow. We plan on getting the car to fire up firstly, and we need to get a bit of data back off the race pack. So before we can do any of that stuff, my main thing is I want him to run the generator. Now, if you street cruise a blown methanol car and you're not putting RPM into the engine and you're not got no temperature in it, you're going to have dramas with the oil. It'll milk up every time. So I've always been told by Benny, there's no idling, there's no cruising summer nats. I mean, I'd do laps all day if I was able to, but it's not good for the engine. It's not built for that. So we just simply don't do it. For example, I went to Spring Nuts one year, a few years ago. I cruised up there, cruised up through the middle of town there. We parked up. A few of the boys had a few beers at the pub. I had a lemon squash. I sent Benny a picture of us sitting there saying we're about to finish the street cruise and I'll go and do some burnouts. And the only reply Ben gave me was, change the effing oil now. So from that, I've learned from a mistake, but that was cool. I mean, if we are going to do it, you are going to street cruise it, 17 litres of oil will get drained out. That's plain and simple. So you got to go 17 litres at $10 a litre. It's a bit more expensive on the trip. So the boys, we need to get the generator going, so they'll get that up and cracking. Once the oil's got some temperature into it, then we should fire it up. So oil, plugs done, and we'll go from there. I have had the missed call from Cleetus when I woke up this morning, so quick shower, some brekkie, and we're back in at work here. So he wanted to run through a couple of things with me, which I just spoke to him about before we start the car. Now, he's got the oil heater on.
You know it's gonna be a good day when you're cooking some oil in an Australian 1700 horsepower Freedom Machine burnout car. So guys, right now James and I are prepping the Warbird for its first official fire up. We did try and start it the other day, but as you saw, we had a leaking fuel line, so went ahead and replaced that, and today we might go for the maiden voyage.
Oh, she's gonna be ready.
Yeah.
Step one is he spoke to Benny about the race back to make sure the chips and everything's all good with that, which it is. Benny's happy on his side of things. Breeze told him bring it up between 5.5 around there, 1,000 RPM. We'll run it for a 5 to 10 second burnout. Now he spoke to myself and asked me to throw in a message there not long ago what he wants me to do. Now I explained to him I want him to run through the gears and a bit of stuff like that. So what I wrote, excuse me here, I'll just punch it out and make sure I don't get it wrong. So hey mate, oil tank on, is on the generator, which is good, about half to 45. Make sure the oil tank is hot to touch. That's normally all I would go off. I don't really go off the oil gauge. So the guys ran it the other day, which will circulate the oil so the tank itself will be full. And now on the which I've mentioned it here, on the tank itself is at the passenger feet. It has got a sight glass through it, so it's a big long skinny one, and you can see how much oil is actually in the tank. So I always like it around 3/4, minimum half. 3/4 is the spot I like it to be sitting when the car's running, so I've mentioned that. Once the car, crank it over, no fuel in it, obviously, which they did the other day. These guys have started up, so throw a bit of pump fuel down the helmet. Once it starts and the car's running, let's pull the fuel tap out. So I put it into the American language, or you old blokes out there, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. We just slide the fuel tap out to lend it out a little bit, and I have highlighted brackets, do not rev the engine when that's out. So, which these guys, like I said, they're no deals, it's all good, but he wants it in there. So once it's warmed up, we're gonna push the fuel tap in, give it 4 or 5 seconds before you touch it. You'll feel it fatten up, and then we're right to go. So drive it up and down the laneway if you don't mind. Now it's not at the Freedom factory. He's got a little workshop now. I haven't been there myself, but in a complex, and you guys who follow him would have seen this. So you just got to run up and down the little side there beside the other factories. Well, my phones are going already this morning. We're going to turn that one down a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't drive the camera mad. So he'll run that up and down beside the factory there, and then hopefully pull up in his workshop or out front of his workshop, give us our 5 or 10 second burnout, and then Benny will download some data, get a bit of feedback, and he'll throw me a video. So we'll get to that shortly. I'll sit here patiently and wait and see how this plays out. I just ducked down to my local coffee shop to grab a coffee. The phone went off, and every time it does, I'm quickly looking at it. Now Cleetus has sent me this. And all it said was, don't worry, we've got good temp. Now, first thing I've looked at there, I'm not worried about the engine, that's Ben's concern, is I hope that he's put the burnout wheels on that, because the last image I seen of that had the big wheels. So fingers crossed that he has swapped them. If not, you're giving them a polish for sure, Cleetus or James or whoever it is, but they're going to need a decent clean. And I think everything has gone to plan. Now, he did say it ran up and down. He did say it worked. There's not much more I can do if the data comes up really well. We should be good. He was confident behind the wheel the other day. They said when they idled in and out of the shed, he felt good. I can't do much more than that now, but sit and wait and try and give you guys some more footage. So when Cleetus sends me the footage of him cruising around up and down his factory there, I will send it through to you guys. And we will, hang on, I'm vibrating here. Oh, what have we got here? Race back issues. All right, so they've got a data read issue. That's well above my head, but a data read issue or something like that. So I might check with the boys now to make sure there was no issues. Hopefully we get some cool footage from the boys cruising around his complex, and we'll be able to throw it up for you guys soon. Now I expected my car to be going up and down beside half a dozen factories, a bit of a concrete area and a tiny little standstill, but man, he's gone out and take this thing on the street, through intersections, round the block. Now, this is making me want to be there even more. If we can drive blown methanol stuff around the streets of Florida, I am pumped to get there. So check out this action. Alright, so it's Friday morning, it's game day. The boys are heading on the way out the Freedom Factory, just got off the phone to them. We are going to have to get some more data for Benny. Benny didn't sleep well again last night. We've been on the phone to him as well. So the race pack didn't work, we couldn't upload the data. I'm not sure where it went wrong, but anyway, we'll rectify that. They've got a new cable hooked up, new SIM card. So 10-second power skid this morning, and we'll see how that plays out. We should be all good. Also, my conversation with Cleetus was how he wants to run it. So Benny's picked his RPM range that he wants around the 6,000 mark, a smidge over, but don't go too high too early. He's asked myself when I wrote what my main aim is. I wedge my foot in there and try not allow it to go up and down too much. So whatever you do, stay on that throttle, because if you come out, you panic, you push hard down, that's where we'll get the limiter. So hopefully the guys all goes to plan today and we get some awesome footage.
So loud.
Dude, this thing is so scary. This is crazy.
Okay, so I've been waiting patiently for that power skid to come through, and he's done a great job. A little tip there at the end. Benny's just got off the phone to Cleetus. He's given me a quick call to say all is well. So that's good. Well, I'm happy with that. Cleetus sent me a text saying, are you happy for me to open it up? Benny's given the thumbs up, which I am. The only thing I have said, make sure you get both tyres off.
As long as the cylinders are hot to touch, yeah, you're right to,
Okay.
put it on the rings.
All right, thanks, Benny. We'll let her rip, brother.
He says put it on the rings, dude. Have fun.
All right, thanks, buddy. See ya.
He says put it on the rings.
All right, ladies and
Let her
gentlemen, we got permission from the Australians to do a full rip, blow these tires. So, guess we're gonna do it. Everything sound good to you guys though? Like it sounds
good.
healthy?
Yeah.
Sounds solid.
Because there's a lot going on in the car. To be honest, I have no idea what's going on.
It's one of those things where you think it's gonna not be as intimidating as the last time, but every time it fires up, it's just as intimidating.
Yeah, I gotta get used to it.
There's a lot there. God.
All right, the 2 fire extinguishers are in the back of that. Please help me if it's on fire.
All right, so we've just watched the footage of that, myself and all the boys here back at the rod shop, and really happy with it. I mean, the man looks good behind the wheel, but remember, that was only a practice session. Game days this weekend, you've got walls, 3 times the amount of smoke, you got the crowd there, you're live, so I reckon it'll be well worth watching. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate it, the support at the Castlemaine Rod Shop. Like, subscribe down below. See you next week.